Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Keith Andrew Network. It is 914. Today, we have upcoming professional actress, songwriter, author, and award-winning author. I won't say who it is, but you'd be very surprised. But the first thing I want to start off is for people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network. The whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. Just prove to them to step out to something. So hashtag break the labels. That being said, we're going to do a quick commercial break. And when we come back, take a seat because you're going to enjoy the Keith Andrew Network.
Hey everyone, it's Katrina Kusa here. You can find me on the Keith Andrew Network show, and I'm so excited for you all to hear more about me and more updates. Stay tuned, everyone.
The question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how you do everything that you do now.
Of course. So, hey everyone, I'm Katrina Kusa. I'm an award-winning author, actress, singer, songwriter, and social media influencer. Everything that I've been doing now has really became from my writing. I have been writing since the age of 8, and I have published my first book at the age of 12 called The Kingdom of the Lizards, which was actually written at age 10. And then after that, I began doing my acting, and I love doing a lot of short films, commercials, theater. And then after that, I became in love with music and songwriting.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it's funny now I can actually go back to my phone and looking at the lines. You know, you hit it on the head. I got a text and that said that you were just an award-winning author. I'm like, okay. But I didn't know about the other things, but you really are an inspiration.
Oh, thank you so much.
So the next question I want to ask you is, when you walk into a classroom, do you still consider yourself as a kid, like a normal kid, or do you kind of like have this chip on your shoulder saying, yeah, I'm still normal, but at least I'm now this award-winning phenomenon? Do you think that changes your expectations or I'm trying to find the word. So do you think that changes your expectations on how you see other people, or are you the same lovable kid as you always will be?
I always don't really think about being an award-winning author or doing something that not many kids that I attend school with are not doing. I still think of myself as a normal kid because I'm still in high school. I'm right now a senior. I am planning on going to college, which is very exciting. Has been such a long process, but it's finally almost over. And I still think, even when I'm doing all the things I'm doing now outside of school, I still would say I am that normal kid, and I will always remain the same no matter what. I will always put my feet on the ground and try to stay grounded, like as best as I could be. So I hope that would answer your question.
It does. And actually for you, I'm not making inception. Instead of reading a script, sorry, my head's always down. I'm actually going to look at your profile because you are an author, songwriter, singer, and actress. So I'm going to rip those answers right out of my head. Usually I have like an index card, like, okay, top 4 things we're going to talk about. And, you know, for me, I'm like, oh, let's do the script, but I like to change it up, be spontaneous. But out of the 4 things that you're mentioned here on your Facebook, being an author, singer, songwriter, and actress, which one of those are you very passionate about?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would say all of them I love equally, but everything really started from my writing. And I believe writing really has helped me become the actress I really want to become today. Songwriting really has a lot to do with writing as well. And I just say that really helped me evolve to the artist I am today from writing.
All right, so that brings up 2 points that I want to bring up. First one is you are an award-winning author. And with that being said, have you ever thought about ghostwriting in writing a book for somebody?
Ooh, I actually never have thought of ghostwriting for somebody. I always had the intention of writing my own stories, but I would always be willing to help somebody write their own story, not just writing the story for them. I would love to collaborate with other professional writers out there as well on a work someday. And my dream is to also screenwrite with other writers around the room, either for a Netflix film or television show for Disney. That's my ultimate dream. So I would love to collaborate with anybody someday.
Oh, absolutely. We can definitely talk about that off the air. But the first question I want to ask you is about being a book author. Who inspired you, and what was the very first book that you read in?
So what really inspired me was watching the film Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events. I wrote a fan fiction out of that movie, and that really inspired me to write my first original work called The Strange Happenings, which really is about the same thing with the story about the uncle and the two kids who became orphans and try to find the mystery behind their family. So that's really how I became really interested in writing today.
Absolutely. The second question I'm going to ask you, as a writer, what experience do you have in leading other people?
Some experiences that I've had with my writing and also leading from others or with others is probably when I'm around the room sharing different ideas and just different thoughts for new writings that everybody wants to share. And also when I'm reading to kids, I'm also inspiring them on becoming the future. And also because they want to become writers too all the time, when I always read either my own story or reading books to them. And it always makes me smile that somebody is looking up to somebody like them as a big inspiration, which really makes me joyful the most. And I just love to hear other people's ideas and different interests on how they became writers as well, and just having that dream of one day collaborating with somebody important in the industry, which is really something that I look up to as well. So that's a few things I would say that definitely are areas and experiences that I could lead somebody or a group of people with my writing.
Absolutely. The next question I'll ask is, how would you feel about being a brand ambassador?
Oh my goodness. That's actually one of my dreams. Either with fashion or a really cool brand or a book. That's just one of my ultimate dreams, and I always look up to somebody who is their own brand ambassador. A lot of them are really inspirational to me, and they just really have great, unique messages for any person at all. So it's just really great to hear that many people want to become brand ambassadors and are brand ambassadors. And that's just something I really hope to become someday as well.
Well, maybe someday it will come as soon as you may, after this interview for that matter, because I would like to ask you, I'm doing it right now, if you would be interested in being one of my brand ambassadors.
Oh my goodness, yes, I would love to.
Oh, perfect. I just want to clarify, I don't pay people, I can't pay people, but it's networking, right? So I can network, promote your work, and you help me, I help you. So it's all about networking in an extent of not saying, I'm trying to find the words for it. It's who you know in the business and all you're connected with. You did some amazing things. Your award, and I'm not kissing your butt or anything, you are an award-winning actor, author, and songwriter. You have a bright future ahead of you. And I know a handful of people who would love to work with you and interview you on your show. That's what I can do in return of saying, I can't pay you, but hey, I know people that would love to interview you. And in return, you just say you support someone with disability. So it's a quick quote.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. That really means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. We definitely talk about the details afterwards. But the other question I want to ask you is, what is the most rewarding part of being a writer for you?
Ooh, it's such a great question. Something rewarding that probably has got me from my writing is probably my confidence, especially from that beautiful medium. That medium was probably one of the ways where I could actually write my thoughts and my biggest desires or like biggest sadness moments in my life. And I just love the way that that medium could actually go into a piece of paper and other people could read someone else's story from that. Because a lot of my stories are half from my imagination and half from my reality. And I just love to hear that many other people can also relate to that story as well. And that's something that just really means a lot to me. So, yeah.
Now, the next two questions, I'm going to go over to the acting section right now, but both of these relate to each other. So the first one I want to ask you is, what was the biggest obstacle you have faced and how did you overcome it as being a writer and actor?
Of course. So being so young in the industry, especially in writing, a lot of people, especially when I got started, were really in doubt if I was going to do the work, especially with being so young. There's so many kids that I know who don't really like work as hard as me, and especially that's like your job. That's like another job besides school that you have to really go to and maintain to and really work hard on. So that was one thing probably I would say that really got to other people. And I really had to work hard and actually like say to them that I can do this, I will work hard, I will get the job done, because I want to be like, I'm really responsible in anything I do. And that's just something that really means a lot to me. So I really needed to put that forward to other people to understand.
I agree with you. And I can relate to what you just said. You know, the next question I was going to ask you is about stigma. Do you think that as soon as you try to do this audition, or I never was able to do it as soon as you were on my show, so I'm not saying that. But if you walked into a room, do you think that stigma is like, do we really want to hire this kid to be this role? How good of an actor are you? So the first one is, how do you handle the stigma and prove to people I'm the right fit and I will show you I am?
Of course, I would say one thing is keeping my head up high and just bringing in positive energy into the room, not acting, just really like self-centered or, something that will really make people not really like you around the room and want to be around all the time. Especially being a young kid, that's something that I really have to be careful for with my behavior as well, because that could really misinterpret a lot of people on kids' behaviors and how they really act. Like, will they act responsible or act, just very immature? So that's really one thing that's definitely, I would say that I have to do when I'm around the room. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the other thing is, family comes first. Even if you may argue with your, I argue with my family all the time, but I love them very much. Never change who you are, because there's so many people out there. Miley Cyrus, the kid from Home Alone, Justin Bieber, There's someone who had their heads way up their asses, think, oh, I'm this, I'm on Disney, I'm on Nickelodeon. But where are you 20 years later? It's kind of like you got to, you appreciate the opportunity, what you have and the money, but be smart about it. Now, for me, if I'm rich and famous, I don't want fast cars. I don't want to have 4 houses. I want to make sure I pay my taxes. That's the biggest one. And I have money to fall back on. Because these people want the money, change their personalities, and in 10 to 15 years, you're on this rocket ship thinking, hey, look at what you're doing. But remember this, you're going to meet the same people going up as you're coming back down, and don't burn any bridges.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
No, I agree. And what do you think of that?
I definitely agree with you there as well. Oh, my mom always tells me, do not change who you are, especially in this industry as well, with the writing, the acting, the singing. Just keep your feet grounded to the ground and stay humble. That's what she always has been telling me when I became, really more professional into the industry. And that's something that I would really like to keep on doing and just keep on having that same behavior throughout my journey.
I agree with you 100%. My hero, a lot of people are like, oh, Superman, Batman. My hero will always be Son Goku. And one of his lines is, always stay who you are, stay pure of heart. And he said something else, I just don't remember what it was, but it's like, always stay who you are, be pure of heart. But the question I want to ask you is, how do you know when you have delivered a high quality performance?
Oh, just that feeling and that energy that I have inside of me. That's something that really always rings, that I have done something high quality and have performed very well. Definitely that. And when I just see other people's reactions to my performance, that's also something that really makes me feel like I've done something to have the reaction be that way as well.
Now the next two are kind of similar. What are let's see if I can read the paper, it's kind of crippled. Wrong choice of words, but it is, you know what I mean. Anyway, so the question I want to ask you is, what are you most likely to become famous for?
Ooh, that's such a great question. I hope to have a #1 New York Times novel. I actually just completed a paranormal novel called The Strange Stillness of Time recently. And my manager is really working hard on finding a traditional publisher in New York. And I'm just really praying and hoping that something is going to come out of the journey, because I've worked very hard on it. And I just really hope many people could relate to that novel and that work. So, yeah.
And one that's similar to that, what is your claim to fame?
Oh, my claim to fame. It's a really great question.
Thank you.
My claim to fame probably would be something where I will inspire other people, not just from writing or acting, hopefully, or with the singing. I hope all of those will tie in, and hopefully that will make an impact to many people. But also I would love to spread that positive message and also inspirational message to not give up on your dreams and do not listen to other bad things people will tell you. Just keep on having your head up high, and I know you'll get there, and I know you'll achieve what you want to achieve.
Absolutely. Now I do want to talk to you about your singing, but I have one more question I want to ask you. Well, I said 2 questions. Well, make it 3, but not 3 more questions, just adding on to it. So it's 3 in general. So I want to ask you, what is your greatest achievements? Well, obviously you are award winning, so that has to be up there. So I know oxymoron, why, if you know something, why you want to ask it, but let's take the big elephant out of the room. So let's pretend I didn't say it. What is your greatest achievements?
My greatest achievements is probably being able to complete my first big novel, The Strange Stillness of Time. At the beginning, it was only 54 pages, but I've worked really hard with my favorite and my editor, and we became really great friends. And I have made it finally to become 250 pages. So I'm just really grateful for that. And that's probably one of my biggest achievements, because I began writing that at the age of 13. And finally, a couple of years later, I finally completed a work of art that really means a lot to me.
No, absolutely. And for me, this is what I want to do until the day I die. If you actually look at my Instagram, it's one of those posts. If you have a dream, hold on to it. Never give up on it. Never say it's never going to happen. Hold on to it tight and work at it every day, because you never know when that will actually come true.
Yeah.
So the next one I want to ask you about being a professional singer. What kind of genre do you sing? Do you sing rock and roll, R&B, jazz, rap?
So I do have a few rap songs, but I am in the pop genre most of the time. So I love singing pop with a modern twist and a little bit like having that teen vibe in it as well to keep it young. And I'm still exploring myself as a singer, and I know my sound will come, and I'm still exploring that sound as an evolving artist.
And what about for people, actually, don't mind me. When I hold up cards for easier, this paper kind of gets annoying after a while. Work on it. So, question for me, I'm kind of cartoony. So, anyone who lost me over the years. So, the next question I want to ask is: have you thought about singing songs or making songs, for that matter, for people with disabilities? And how can people with learning disabilities follow in your footsteps?
That's a really great question. Yes, I'm always looking for songs with spreading a great, unique message out there. And it would be such an honor to actually spread that message in one of my songs. I would definitely love to do something like that for the future. Somebody with learning disabilities, I think anybody could sing, either with a learning disability or another disability out there. And just by having that inspiration, and I could become a motivational speaker and speak out to all of these people who don't believe they can do this, but they really can. And I know if you really work hard and really keeping your head up high, and again, just don't listen to anybody and what they say, they'll get there and they'll achieve their dream. And that's something that I really want to speak out towards everyone.
Well, let me ask you this, because my interviews are mostly not scripted. So yes, I write a couple words like, well, this one looks good, act this, but I want to ask you something real. This is real talk. And have you ever thought about writing a book about yourself, number one? And do you think, again, oxymoron, because everything we talked about, you accomplish a lot, but say you haven't, and you were supposed to write a book about everything that you've gone through, seen, produced, wrote about, do you think you have everything that would make a good story? Or do you think it's not time to write a book because I haven't really reached that point?
I believe I could write a book about myself. I've experienced, besides anything that I've been doing in the industry, I've experienced many different unique occasions in my life that I thought I would never have experienced before. And I've contributed a lot to a lot of communities out there. And I would love to write a story about that and having that message spread out to the world.
No, absolutely. A lot of people are like, every time I reach out to people, are like, oh, you should write a book. It's like, yeah, we talk about disabilities, and I'm close to one unofficial weight is 1,000, but official weight is 914. And I'm like, okay, it's great. From someone who reads and learns at a 5th grade to high school level, who's on the spectrum of being retarded, did 1,000 episodes. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, I want to be on TV more. I want to do what you do. And then I can write it. Right? Well, that's not how it works. So I'm like, fine, I'm going to write 2 books, before and after. So with everything that I told you about me and about the talk show, I want your honest opinion. Do you think I'm good enough to write a book?
Yes, anyone is good enough to write a book. Definitely. I would definitely say yes, 100%.
I appreciate that. Yeah, do you have a question? I do have a lot of questions off the air, but wrapping up to 7 minutes. The first one I want to ask you is, what is coming up on the horizon and where are you heading to next?
Of course. So for my music next, I hope to release a new visualizer out on my YouTube channel, which is Katrina Kusa /wig next month, for my single that came out a couple of months ago called Candyland. And I'm so excited for that to be released. And I hope someday, actually this year, that my new novel will be hopefully found or pitched by a literary agent and be found by a traditional publisher. And I hope to release new music in the future. And I actually just got into a feature film recently, and I'm very excited to be filming that during the summer. And I'm just super excited, and I hope that will be released as well this year too. So yeah.
And the last one is, how can our listeners get in touch with you? Are you on LinkedIn? Obviously, I found you on Facebook, but are you on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter?
Yes, so I'm on Instagram called I Am Wig Official. I am also on Facebook, Katrina Kusa, TikTok, Katrina_Kusa, Twitter, Katrina Kusa, and also for my music, you can find me on Wig, as well as Amazon Music Wig, Apple Music Wig, and you can find my books on Barnes & Noble, Amazon.com, as well as just find me on my website, KatrinaKusa.com.
Absolutely. Now, my last question, how I wrap up all my shows, I want you to be brutally honest. When I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest first reaction? What made you say yes? And how do you feel now? Would you recommend it to other people?
Of course. So definitely my first reaction to this talk show was very excited. I'm always looking forward to talk with anybody with different experiences and also with different interests as well. And I love to communicate with anybody as well. I love to talk. So, and definitely I would recommend anybody to go on this talk show or also listen as well in this talk show. I had such a great time talking with you. It was so much fun. Yeah.
I appreciate it. And like I said, everyone, normal conversation, and you make a new friend out of it. But stay tuned. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But everyone out there, make sure to like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network. Our goal is to reach 200 views and comments with our work. I share it, you share it. There's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be able to reach that. If you're out there on Facebook, make sure to like, share, comment. It will be on LinkedIn, Twitter. I was going to say Instagram, but I'm still working on that. LinkedIn, Twitter, and all social media. So you will see the video one way or another. While wrapping up, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you, and have a good night.